This Sunday, the first event with a full crowd in over a year takes place, making the already stacked Double or Nothing into the most anticipated pay-per-view of the year. So let's get right into it. I'm Power Wrestling, and these are my predictions for the 9 announced matches. Let's begin with the Casino Battle Royale. To start, let's get rid of all the no-hopers that have no chance of realistically winning this match. That includes Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Matt Hardy, Marq Quen, Isiah Kassidy, The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Comoroto, and Lee Johnson. Then I'll quickly mention Dustin Rhodes and Preston Vance, who I see as dark horses that could theoretically serve as short-term victims for Omega to beat. That only leaves 4 main options. First, there's Jungle Boy, who has shown a ton of babyface fire since his debut, and him facing Omega in his first War Title match would not only make for a great bout, but a great story. Second, we have Penta and Miedo, who has faced Omega a couple of times in the past years and feels like one of the few main event level guys in the match. Plus, I don't think anyone would oppose another brilliant rematch between these two. Third is Christian Cage, who made his debut back at Revolution, has steadily picked up a couple of singles wins, and actually confronted Omega during his first night on Dynamite. And fourth, there's still the surprise entrant, who could honestly be anyone, from someone already on the card, to a returning star, to a debuting free agent, to a guy from Impact, to even a guy from New Japan. However, unless the Joker is someone like Kota Ibushi or Daniel Bryan, Christian feels like a lock to win the whole thing, and it's an easy, safe pick. Then we have Cody Rhodes vs Anthony Ogogo. This started as a pretty solid feud with QT Marshall turning on the Nightmare family to form the Factory, and up until Blood and Guts was very strong. But then, Cody just had to turn this into a USA vs the World feud. And at this point, I just want to get this match over with. They are clearly very high on Ogogo, hence the high profile bout. But the fact he's representing the Foreign Menace in the first pay-per-view with a full live audience is really making me reconsider my choice. I'm sticking with an Ogogo victory, but I'm not counting Cody out of this one. After that, Brian Cage faces Hangman Adam Page. This rematch had a very simple build. Cage got a cheap victory over Hangman, taking him off of title contention, and Page is now looking for a fair fight. I usually don't like rematches without match build, but since AEW does them very scarcely, I have no problem with Cage vs Page too. As for the result, I could see Cage win to keep Hangman away from Omega, but I'm mostly leaning towards Page getting his revenge and a major singles win on pay-per-view. Next, Sting and Darby Allin battle Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. This rivalry has been boiling over in the background of Darby's TNT title defenses. And aside from the heels throwing Darby down the stairs, this feud hasn't really clicked with the audience. I do see the potential in Scorpio and Ethan as a pairing, but they probably needed more time to realistically build this partnership instead of doing it right away after Revolution. They really could use this major win, but I can't see Sting losing his first non-cinematic match since returning to action. Later on, Miro takes on Lance Archer for the TNT title. This is probably the match with the least amount of build, which in a weird way kind of goes in its favor. It makes it feel like some sort of first time ever exhibition bout that is guaranteed to be a hard-hitting affair. The only issue is the fact Miro just won the belt, and it would completely kill all his momentum to lose it after just one defense. So it's pretty clear Lance Archer has 0 chances of winning this. And then, Inner Circle will take on the Pinnacle in the Stadium Stampede match. This feud has been just one big mixed bag, with everything from AJF introducing the Pinnacle up until Blood and Guts being the strongest story. The problems arose when they decided to bring Chris Jericho back just a week after being thrown off the top of the cage, which in itself was already a hotly debated topic. It hasn't even been a month since Blood and Guts, and they've already set up a rematch. And of course, it comes with the ultimatum that if the Inner Circle loses, they have to split up. I like both factions, and I'm still hyped for the sequel to my favorite cinematic match of last year, but man, did they drop the ball with this story. I wanted to pick the pinnacle, but I feel we're far away from this feud ending, so it would make sense for the Inner Circle to win and remain together. Shortly after, we have Hikaru Shida vs Britt Baker for the AEW Women's War Title. For the longest time, AEW's women's division has been its weakest point, with champions Riho, Rhodes, and Hikaru Shida often going MIA for several weeks in a row. However, in 2021, we finally started seeing this division get a proper spotlight, with more screen time, more than one story at a time, and even the first women's main event in Dynamite history. Britt Baker has been front and center of this wave of change, rising as AEW's most improved star and even outshining the current champion. That's why, as much as I enjoy Shida's work, it's time for her reign to come to an end so this division can go even farther with Baker at the top. Coming next, the Young Bucks face Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston for the AEW War Tag Team titles. Ignoring the less than stellar conditions in which they reunited, the pairing of Mox and Eddie has easily been one of the highlights of Dynamite, with their feud against the Elite being the strongest storyline going into Double or Nothing. Mox and Eddie have dominated whichever segment or match they were part of, with some unreal on-screen chemistry, making them the perfect choices to dethrone title holders with a reign that's struggled to connect. However, in the past 2 months, the Bucks have completely revitalized their tag title run with a superb heel turn that's finally made them reach their true potential. So, as much as I love to see Mox and Eddie as champions, I think it's too soon for this iteration of Matt and Nick Jackson to lose the belts. And finally, we have Kenny Omega vs Pac vs Orange Cassidy for the AEW War Title. This is arguably the most unusual match on the card, with the story only starting at Blood and Guts. Both challengers discreetly climbed to the top of the rankings and started a feud with Omega when he interfered in their first contender match. However, it's clear the main story is that of Omega and Kassidy, with Omega not seen freshly squished as a worthy opponent for his belt. Pac's addition feels like AEW's attempt to avoid a singles Omega vs Kassidy while spicing up the main event for the first full capacity crowd. Either way, we are still quite early in Omega's War Title conquest, so I doubt there's any realistic chance of the Best Bound Machine dropping the belt anytime soon. Do you agree with my choices? Leave a comment down below with your predictions for Double or Nothing. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at Pillman Wrestling for any update. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, see ya!